Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Hannah and this is Jar of Fireflies. Here I make videos all about my life as an Orthodox Jewish homeschooling mother of 3. I make a lot of vlogs, do a lot of Q&As, and a bunch of other random videos in between because, hey, this is my little corner of YouTube and I'll do what I want here. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of my future videos. And today we are going to be doing one of those Q&As all about hair covering. And with that, let's dive into today's video, which will be a video all about hair covering, a Q&A to be precise. Okay, so recently I asked you guys to submit questions for some future Q&As, and I mentioned that in particular I wanted to do a Q&A all about hair covering. So here we are. Thank you so much to everybody who submitted questions. I also included a lot of common questions that I get here on the channel about hair covering, so let's just dive right in. Okay, so probably the number one question that I get about hair covering is, why do I wear a wig? Okay, if you watch my channel regularly, you're probably kind of scratching your head going, what is she talking about? Yes, I definitely wear a wig sometimes. I don't wear a wig super often, but I do at times wear a wig. I have 2, and I wear them. I wear the wigs because they are permitted by Jewish law. That is a permitted hair covering by Jewish law for me to wear. So there's nothing against my religion to wear a wig. As long as my hair is covered, it's fine. And yes, that includes covering my hair with somebody else's hair. It's about my hair. It's not about somebody else's. So that's why the wig is totally permissible. Now, as far as why I wear the wig, I guess more personally, like on a more personal level, is that I wear the wig because when I go out, sometimes it's nice just to sort of blend in a little bit more, just to not have everybody staring at you. I remember the first time that I went out in public in a wig as opposed to a scarf, and I felt invisible. I had not noticed that people were looking at me when I was wearing the scarf, but somehow, I don't know if this makes sense, like I noticed when they weren't looking at me when I was wearing the wig. So I don't know if that makes sense, but so it was just a very interesting experience, and it's nice to be able to go somewhere and just kind of blend in, because obviously I stand out a little bit when I'm wearing a scarf, which is what I wear most of the time when I'm going out. But yeah, like I said, it's nice to be able to go out sometimes in the wig and just kind of blend in and not stand out. And you know, at certain times it feels a little bit safer, to be perfectly honest. Now, when I get this comment about why don't I just wear a scarf instead of a wig, it tends to come down to modesty. Like usually in that comment, something is also mentioned about it's more modest to wear a scarf. And honestly, my response to that is that I think it depends on who you talk to. Modesty is very relative. You know, to some people, wearing short sleeves is perfectly modest. To other people, long sleeves is the only thing that is perfectly modest. Me, I like 3/4 length sleeves. So, you know, same with hair covering. You know, some people are covering everything except their face or their eyes, and some people are only covering like a little bit on the back of their head, or of course some don't cover their hair at all and they consider that perfectly modest. Same with pants versus skirts. You know, some people think pants are very modest, especially when compared to shorts, whereas, you know, I only wear skirts and dresses, and I prefer maxi length dresses because I find that to be more modest than a knee length or a midi length skirt or dress. But you know, it's all relative. And you know, if you think that wearing a scarf is the only way to be modest, great. If you think that not covering your hair at all is perfectly modest, great. Like whatever you do is for you. What I do is for me, and I'm just sharing my opinions here. Okay, next question. What style of hair covering do I prefer on a day-to-day basis? Okay, so this is what I wear the most, is a scarf, and in particular a square scarf, which I have folded in half and then I just tie in the back, so I have kind of like a lot hanging down, and I've got these like tails, and I think that is so much fun. So that's my favorite just day-to-day hair covering. Now, when I'm just like home alone, I'm most often probably wearing a snood, which you can see in my Shavuot prep video, which was the last video that I did. I wore a snood, I think pretty much that entire video until I put on a wig at the end of the video. And I'll probably do a video coming up where I go through and I'll actually try on each of the different styles of hair covering that I wear, and talk about each one of those. But in the meantime, yeah, mostly I'm in this. Next, I'd say the snood, and last would be the wig. I don't really wear the wig that often. When I first got married, I wore it a handful of times, And then it sat on a shelf literally for like the next 8 years. And then I started wearing a wig again. So, but just occasionally, because I'm definitely used to wearing this. All right, next question. Did it take me time to get used to covering my hair? Yes, it did. Before I got married, knowing that I was going to cover my hair when I got married, I started practicing at home by wearing headscarves just at home. I wouldn't wear them out in public. You know, that would just be kind of weird because I wasn't married yet. I don't know. But just around the house, I started practicing them. And that was a suggestion from my Collab teacher. Collab is the Hebrew word for bride. So my Collab teacher, who was teaching me all of like the laws of marriage and things like that. So she suggested that I do that, and I thought it was a great idea, so I did. On that note, also with the wig, once I got the wig, I also practiced that as well. Because it's, you know, I was used to just having my hair down all the time. And then when I put my hair up in something like this, it's in a ponytail. When I am in the shaitel, it's like kind of clipped up onto the back of my head. So there's a lot going on that's just different. And of course, you're feeling something on you, and you want to make sure that like you've got, you know, a scarf that's not going to fall off, and make sure that everything kind of works. So yeah, I totally practiced that before I got married. And then again, after I got married with the wig, I would practice wearing that around the house before I wore it out in public as well. But overall, I'd say it didn't take me too terribly long to get used to covering my hair. I guess mentally is the biggest part of it, really, not so much the physical aspect of just getting used to having that thing on your head. And, you know, you can get headaches from hair coverings, like that totally happens. So it was more of a mental thing. And since I was going into this knowing that that was something that I wanted to do, that made it pretty easy. But there is still like that thing of like going out in public, and, you know, you're kind of the odd one out with your hair covered. So, but yeah, I'm totally used to that and very comfortable to that now. It's been about a decade of covering my hair. So the next question, how do I feel about covering my hair? So as far as how I feel about covering my hair, I go back and forth. I kind of go through ebbs and flows of how I feel about it. There are some days where I try on a bunch of different head coverings and I'm like, I don't like the way I look in any of these. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I think that I'm gonna look great in my own hair either. You know, I'm just having one of those days. And there are times where, you know, I only want to wear scarves, or I only want to wear snooze, or I only want to wear shaitel, or I only want to wear a certain kind of scarf tied in a certain way, or whatever. You know, it's just like anything else with our clothing. You know, there are times when I was only wearing skirts and shirts, and now I'm wearing dresses all the time. So I feel like it's just like anything else in life, where sometimes you like it more than others. But the bottom line with how I feel about covering my hair is that it is a choice that I made, and I do it because it is a requirement of my religion, and I am extremely happy with that decision. I will also say that I do find my head coverings to be very pretty, whether it is in a wig or a scarf or anything else. I wouldn't wear them if I didn't like the way that I looked in them. And I have tried some hair coverings, certain kinds of hats and things like that. And I'm like, you know what? I just don't like the way that I look in this. And I either give them away or they sit on a shelf until I'm ready to give them away or whatever. But, you know, I'm not going to do something that I don't feel good in. In the same way you wouldn't wear an outfit that you don't like, I'm not gonna wear a head covering that I don't like and that I don't feel good in and that makes me feel good. I do think that they look pretty. I do think that they are fun. I definitely love the way that they can reflect my unique personality and that I can just have a lot of fun with it, and that it just kind of becomes part of me, the way that I cover my hair. Also, on that note about how do I feel about covering my hair, it is great to not have to worry about doing my hair every day. I didn't even wash my hair this morning. Do you know? No. Why? Because it's covered up. So that's a fun thing for sure about hair covering, you know, because you can't see it, so it doesn't really matter what it looks like. It just needs to be covered. Now, there are some days where I'm like, wow, I'm having a great hair day. Darn it, but I've got to cover it up. But it's still totally okay because, again, I do like covering my hair and it's my choice. All right, so another question that I got was, do I wear bright colors when I'm not vlogging? And this was in reference to like my headscarves. And what you see in my videos is really what you get. Sometimes I'll wear a more bright color in my videos. I have like a bright purple one. I have this other blue one that has like, it's got like a really shiny, shimmery thing going on with it. But in general, I think I like more subdued colors just in my wardrobe. You know, if you look in my closet, there's a lot of like mossy greens and, you know, kind of sunset oranges and a lot of black and gray and navy blue, like those kind of colors. Like those are the colors that look best on me. So those are the colors that I wear the most. I've never really been one to wear really loud colors, really bright colors. So that in my wardrobe just wouldn't really make sense. And I consider my headscarves also to be part of my wardrobe. So no, I'm not covering my hair any different when I'm not vlogging or anything like that, other than that I'll be more likely to wear a snood as opposed to a scarf just for the pure comfort of it. But I do think that scarves are prettier. So like I wouldn't wear a snood to the grocery store. Anyways, next question. The next question is, who sees my hair? Okay, I definitely get this one a lot. And there aren't like hard and fast rules on who sees my hair necessarily. There's not like a list of people or something like that. I mean, obviously my husband sees my hair. My kids also see my hair. They're really little, so they're still doing things like coming into the bathroom and stuff, or coming into me while I'm in the shower or while I'm sleeping. So they definitely see my hair because those are times when I'm not covering my hair, and that's totally fine too. That's not a big deal. As they get older, that will obviously change, and they just won't really have the opportunities to see my hair. But that just, I don't know that it really matters so much with my kids in general. I can say that my husband doesn't remember ever seeing his mother's hair. So, but again, like once you're older, those opportunities just aren't really there for seeing the hair covering. Whereas my kids now at their ages of 3, 5, and 7, they're, you know, in general, they're kind of around a lot and I'm with them all the time. So yeah, they see it just because they see me in places or times when my hair's not covered. Yeah. Now, as far as somebody else seeing my hair, so like I have been to a locker room where I've been changing and people in the locker room then would have seen my hair. But it's kind of like, I mean, think of it like a locker room where if you're changing clothes in a locker room, you're exposing parts of your body that you wouldn't expose, say, at the grocery store or in your front yard. But in a locker room, it's appropriate, and you just, you know, you give each other privacy, whatever. So it's not like I would normally show all of the women in the locker room my hair, but there's nothing wrong with those women seeing my hair. It's a prohibition for men to see my hair, but in general, women do not show other women their hair, just in general. Doesn't mean we don't. I was at a wig sale once and it was in a private home and most of us were trying on wigs in front of everybody else. So we would see other people's hair there. Again, it was all women. It was totally private. Again, same as the locker room example. But it's not the kind of thing where like if I just had a few girlfriends over and my husband wasn't home and there were no other men around that we would all have our hair uncovered. No, we would definitely not do that. We would all still have our hair covered. So it's really just in those situations like the locker room. I feel like that's the best example where other people might see my hair who are not my husband or my children. But again, like, no, my dad doesn't see my hair. My father-in-law doesn't see my hair. My mother-in-law has never seen my hair. My siblings don't see my hair. Like, there's none of that. My hair is covered all of the time, except when I'm doing things like changing or taking a shower, things like that. Which leads me into my next question of, do I cover my hair at home alone? Yes, I do. When I am home alone, or if I'm home with my kids, or if I'm home with my husband, I absolutely keep my hair covered all of that time. My hair is covered basically as soon as I wake up. I put on a hair cover after I get out of bed, and that stays on until I go to bed later on, unless I'm changing it. The next question that I got was, do I cover my hair at night? No, I do not sleep with a hair covering on. My hair is not covered at night. In the bedroom, pretty much my hair is uncovered unless it's during the day and I'm putting laundry away, something like that. But yeah, when I'm going to bed, when I'm getting ready for bed, the hair cover comes off when the pajamas go on, pretty much. Now, the exception to this is when I am camping. If I am camping in my tent and I do not have the rain cover on my tent. So if the rain cover's not on my tent, then basically the inside of my tent is completely exposed. So I'm basically sleeping under the stars. But there's like basically just a screen between me and everybody else. But anybody walking by my tent could see inside. So in that case, I do sleep with a hair covering because I'm basically there, I'm out in public. course, I only sleep with the rain cover off when I'm really far away from other people, because I do like my privacy when I sleep, as I imagine most people do. But still, in that instance, I would keep my hair covered just in case. Okay, the next question is, have I thought about changing my style of hair covering, and what would I consider? I haven't thought that much about changing the style of my hair cover, mainly because I feel like I've tried most styles of hair covering that work for me as a Jewish woman. Obviously, I wouldn't cover less and I wouldn't cover more, but I can cover differently. So I guess the only hair covering that I haven't tried yet that I am interested in is kind of like a turban style hair covering, and not like a scarf turban style, because I've done a lot of scarves where I tie the scarf, into like a turban style hair covering, and that's fun, and I did that for a few years. That was like all that I did. But at this point, like, not so much that, but like there's like but you can buy like a turban that you just put on your head, and it's like kind of like a pre-tied, it's like already done like a turban, and you just put it on your head. And so I think that might be kind of fun. So I found a pattern to make one of those, and I got some fabric, and we'll see if I ever actually have the time to sit down and make it. But that is something that I would be interested in trying. Probably just the kind of thing I would wear around the house. It doesn't sound to me like something that I would really be comfortable wearing outside of the house, though I'm totally comfortable wearing the scarves tied like a turban outside of the house. So I don't know. We'll see. But I can't think of really any other hair coverings that I would try besides what I have. Or maybe like a different wig. That's what you meant. I would be interested in trying different kinds of wigs. There's a kind of wig that's called a lace front. And so that's where there's like kind of a little piece of mesh right here, and it with like some little hairs that come out of it. So it looks totally like natural hair, and you can kind of like run your fingers through it and like push it back. And that to me would be a more natural hairstyle that I would choose for myself. So I am interested in that. However, I don't wear a wig often enough to really justify that. And the wig that I have right now works just fine. So the next time I buy a wig, probably in like 5 or 7 years, I might try one of those. But in the meantime, no, that's not something I'm going to do anytime soon. But yes, that I would be interested in trying. I wouldn't really change my hair color in a wig. I stick with what's natural, what matches my actual hair. So yeah. I wouldn't really change the hairstyle too much. I stick with my natural hair. I wouldn't mind if the whole thing was a little bit straighter. There's like a bit of wave in my wigs, and I don't super love that because my hair is really straight, but I was going more for color when I picked out my wigs. But I don't live in a place where it's really easy to shop for a wig. There aren't these big shtetl-machers, these big wig makers in my area the way there are in places like New York or LA or Las Vegas. So for me to be able to get a wig, I either would have to travel to one of those places to try them on, or I have to wait until a wig sale comes here. Occasionally we'll have these wig sales where somebody will ship a ton of wigs to the area here, and then someone will host the wig sale in their home, and we'll get to choose from those. But there's only so many wigs you can ship at once, so it still is a pretty limited selection in the scheme of things. But I'm very glad that we're able to do that in my area though. So anyways, those are the questions that I get most about hair covering, as well as the questions that you guys submitted about hair covering. Thank you again so much for all of your questions. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you have any more questions, let me know. Drop it down in the comments section, or just let me know what you think about this whole hair covering thing in general. I would love to hear your thoughts. So let's get that conversation going. Be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. It helps me know what kinds of videos you guys like to see, and it helps my channel out a lot, so I super appreciate that. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, so that you don't miss any of my future videos. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in my next upload. I'm not in a place. A hawk just flew by. That was pretty cool, like right outside my window. It just flew by again. I love birds, that's so cool.